Hey guys, it's me Sylvia back with another video, and today I'm going to be showing you guys a full face of makeup, half of it with high-end products and then the other half with drugstore makeup dupes. I've seen this type of video all around YouTube. I thought it was perfect for my channel because you guys are constantly asking me to show you guys a little bit more affordable makeup, because I admit I do tend to reach for more high-end makeup most of the time. So this is a really great way to show you guys my favorite drugstore products that are really great dupes for the high-end makeup that I've been using. I did think long and hard about the dupes that I'm showing you guys today. I didn't just want to pick the cheapest things that you could possibly find at the drugstore, like the cheapest highlight or the cheapest foundation. Like, it's not about that for me. It was about finding a drugstore product that is extremely affordable, but also really good quality that is comparable to the high-end product. Because I could have picked really, really cheap dupes that might not wear as well or might not be as long lasting, and then by the end of the day, your makeup would just look a hot mess. I wanted to show you guys the best possible dupes that you can get quality-wise and just looking great. But before we start the video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below because I do upload a video every single Sunday and a bonus video throughout the week. So subscribe so you can stay up to date and join our S Club. So without further ado, let's get on with the video. I'm going to be putting the high-end products on first, high-end products on the left side of my face and the drugstore products on the right side of my face. And to start out, we're going to be doing a face primer. You guys know that one of my all-time favorite face primers is the Benefit Professional, and that's because it does such a good job of smoothing out textured skin like pores and things like that, and makes the foundation go on a lot smoother. So I'm going to be placing that on the left side of my face. For the dupe for that, I decided to go with the L'Oreal Magic Perfecting Base. This is a really good primer as well, and it is a lot more affordable than the Benefit one. They both kind of have that silica kind of feel where it does feel a little bit thicker and not like a moisturizer, but more of like a thick consistency. It's kind of hard to explain, but that's going to be going on the right side of my face. They feel very similar in the formula. The main difference I would say is just that the L'Oreal one is a little bit thicker, so you have to work a little harder to work it into the skin. But you can see I have the primer on both sides of my face, and they both did what they were supposed to do. They smoothed out the appearance of my pores. They made my face feel a little bit smoother. So now we're ready for the foundation. So for foundation, I'm using my holy grail, the MAC Studio Fix Fluid in NC25. It is a full to medium coverage foundation, and I like the Beauty Blender because it is such a soft sponge and it really does a good job of blending the foundation and working it into the skin. Let's do the other side of my face now. I decided to go with the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte Foundation. This is one of my favorite drugstore foundations. It really does compare to the Studio Fix one because it's a matte, medium to full coverage foundation as well. And it is really long wearing, just like the Studio Fix one. I'm gonna be applying that with this beauty sponge that is from Quo. And this is a much more affordable beauty sponge. The main differences between this and the Beauty Blender are that this one is a little bit bigger and it's just a little bit harder. Like, it doesn't squish down as much as the Beauty Blender. So you can see both foundations are on and you honestly can't see a difference, not in the shade, not in the texture. That's why I think the L'Oreal Infallible is a perfect dupe for the MAC Studio Fix, and I love both foundations. Next, let's move on to concealer. One of my all-time favorite high-end concealers is the MAC Pro Longwear Concealer. So we're gonna put that on the left side of my face with all the other high-end products. And I'm gonna blend that out with that Beauty Blender again. And for the right side of my face, aka the drugstore side of my face, I'm gonna be using the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer in Fair. This is a really great drugstore concealer. It's definitely at my top 3 drugstore concealers. I'm gonna be blending that out again with the drugstore Beauty Blender. So there we go, both the concealers are on. I don't see much of a difference other than in color. I would say that I got a little bit of a lighter shade in the drugstore concealer, but when it comes to the finish and the coverage of the concealer, they're very, very similar formulas. Now I'm gonna move on to my brows. So let's start out with the MAC eyebrow crayon. This is the color Spike. So it's just a fine tipped brow pencil. It's really great for imitating the look of small little hairs because it's so fine tipped. The MAC one actually doesn't even have a spoolie on it. And the drugstore dupe that I have does have a spoolie on it. So that's a big advantage. And for the drugstore brow, I have L'Oreal's Brow Stylist Definer, which is a really great brow pencil. So this one's in dark brunette, and I'll have to say that this one is a little bit more of an ashy color than the MAC one. I feel like there's not a lot of good options for drugstore brow products. I'm impressed by it every time I use it. You can't really tell the difference. Before we move on to the eyeshadow and all that fun stuff, I'm gonna set my face with a face powder. The high-end one that I really like is the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish. This one's really nice because it's so finely milled that the powder is very, very thin and very velvety and goes on really nicely without making your face look too cakey, but setting the makeup really well. And for the drugstore powder, I did decide to use the Maybelline Fit Me, and I'm gonna be applying this on the right side of my face. I'm gonna use a different brush so I don't like contaminate. This one's a great dupe because it's also really lightweight. It doesn't really add to the coverage on your face. It just does a good job job of setting the makeup to make sure that it doesn't move all day. Let's move on to the eyes. And for the high-end side, I'm going to be using the Kai Shadow palette. It is her bronze palette. This palette is just in such high demand and it's always out of stock, so I decided it was such a good product to use for the video so I can show you guys a good dupe for it. It does have a really nice collection of neutral shades and like the perfect shimmers, so let's go ahead and use this palette. I'm going to start by using this really light shade to highlight the brow bone and the inner corner. Applying that just underneath the brow, all over the brow bone, right up until the crease. And for the drugstore side, I'm going to be using the Shan XO palette, and if you look at this, you can see it's very similar to what Kylie used in her palette. It's a lot more affordable and a lot easier to get. So on her palette, I'm going to be using the light shade as well to do the same thing on the right side of my face. They're both really great quality eyeshadows. Just like all the products I'm showing you today, I really wanted to make sure that they were all still really high quality, even though they're a lot more affordable. Then I'm going to go in with this beautiful brown shade on the bottom corner over here. So I'm going to take that on the left eye here and just apply that right in the crease with my blending brush. And I'm just going to whisk it outwards just like that so it gives my eye a little bit of a longer shape. Now a very similar shade to that in the Shan XO palette is this guy right here. It is a little bit more burgundy than the one in the Kylie palette, but they are very similar. And again, I'm going to use a different brush to make sure that I'm not using any of the other products on this eye. Ooh, I just realized the Shan XO palette has a mirror. The Kylie one doesn't, so that's another plus. For the high-end eye, I'm going to be using this shimmery champagne color in the Kylie palette right there. And that is just going to be applied right on the lid, all over the mobile lid. I'm just going to go back in with that shade and highlight the inner corner of the eye. So switching over back to the Shan XO palette, again, I'm going to be using this shade, which is also a champagne shimmery shade. I'm going to apply that in the exact same spot, just all over the mobile lid. I would probably say that Shannon's is a little bit brighter. So just like the other eye, I'm gonna go back in with that light shade that we used for the brow bone and highlight the inner corner. We're gonna use this dark black gray shade in the Kylie palette just to deepen up the eye a little bit more on the outer corner. So now we're at 4 shadows that you can find the exact dupes for in the Shan XO palette. Now I'm gonna be doing the exact same thing on the drugstore side with this color in the Shan XO palette. So now for some eyeliner. For the high-end side, I'm going to be using the Kat Von D ink liner. It's a waterproof liquid liner and it's in a pen. So that's what we're going to be using for the high-end side. For the drugstore side, I decided to use the L'Oreal Voluminous Liner. This is a new liner. I actually used it in a previous video and I do really like it. I'm going to put that on the right side. The main difference I would say is that the drugstore one is not as jet black, but they both apply really well. They both have really sharp tips, so it's easy to get that sharp wing. So now we're going to take a break from the eyes. We'll come back to it, but we're going to finish up my face first. Let's start with some contouring and highlighting. So for the high-end product, you guys know I love my ABH contour kit. I'm going to be using this shade right here just to contour. And then also for this side to highlight underneath my eye and set my concealer a little bit, I'm going to be using the banana powder here. Mix a little bit in with this one. Let's move on to the drugstore side, and I decided to use the NYX palette. So to contour, it does have a very similar shade to the ABH one. I'm going to be using this guy right here in the hollows of the cheek. Thing is with this one is you really want to be careful with how much product you're applying on your brush because it is very pigmented, and if you use too much it can get a little bit muddy. I'm going to be mixing this yellowy banana shade, very similar to the ABH one, with this one. Let's move on to a shimmery highlight. So for the high-end side, one of my favorite highlighters is the MAC Soft and Gentle highlight. So I'm going to be applying that on the left side of my face. Let's move on to the drugstore side. I'm going to be using Physicians Formula Powder Palette Mineral Glow Pearls. So I'm going to be using that on the drugstore side so you guys can see how similar it is to the MAC one. One of my favorite OG blushes is the MAC Mocha Blush. This blush will never get patchy. It's just a gorgeous wash of color. Now for the drugstore one, I did choose a Milani powder blush, and you can see that the quality of this is amazing as well. It didn't cling to any of the foundation, it just really slide on. We're going back to the eyes. We're going to finish up the under eye. So for the high-end side, I'm going to use the Kylie palette again. We're going to take that shade that we used earlier in our crease and just run that underneath our lash line. Now for the drugstore side, I'm taking the Shan XO palette, and this shade that we used on the crease is going right on the lower lash line. The high-end mascara I'm using is Too Faced Better Than Sex. I love this mascara. It is a really great mascara. It does a good job of not getting clumpy clumpy and staying on for a long time. And a great dupe for that is the Voluminous Feline Mascara. This is new, it's from L'Oreal. I'm gonna be using that on the right side. It just separates the lashes just as well as the Too Faced one and really coats them with a lot of product without making them clumpy. For high-end lashes, I'm using MAC's number 4 lashes. They're a very natural lash, they're very wispy, and they just give your lash a little bit more volume. So my dupe for that lash is the Wispies. This is from Ardell. It's very, very affordable. You can find them at all your local drugstores, and this is one of my favorite drugstore lashes, and I don't think that you can see a difference. So we're almost done. Next up is a setting spray. You guys know that I love my MAC Fix Plus setting spray, so I'm gonna be putting that on the high-end side. And then for the drugstore side, I really like the NYX setting spray, and they both do a really good job of just making your makeup last a lot longer and just making your makeup all kind of melt into one and come together. So next up is lips. I'm using the Kylie Cosmetics Coco K. This one's really, really popular. Everybody wants to get their hands on it, so I thought it'd be a good one to try and find a dupe for. And for the drugstore side, I love the Vivid Matte Liquid Lipsticks from Maybelline. I did find a shade that's very similar to Coco K. It's called Nude Flush. I find it really hard to find a good drugstore liquid lipstick, so I was really picky about this. So this is the finished look. You guys tell me what you think. I mean, can you tell the difference between the drugstore side or the high-end side? So that's the end of the video, you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to give me a huge thumbs up. I want to get to 12,000 likes for this video. I know we can do it, especially since, you know, we found some really great dupes for some high-end products. And let me know down below if you like the way this turned out. Can you tell the difference between the two? I mean, I can't really tell the difference, which I think is amazing because there's such a huge price difference between the products that we use. And that just goes to show that you don't need to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on makeup to get some great makeup products and create some really pretty looks. So that's all for now. I'm so hungry. I'm gonna go mow down on some pizza right now. I'm starving. I will see you guys in my next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.